Hey, welcome back. You're watching Newsmax TV's Liquid Lunch. I'm John Tobacco. This is my favorite part of the show where every single day we bring on a Democrat and a Republican throughout the topics of the day. They mix it up. One rule is this: we have thoughtful conversation. At the end, we shake hands and we part friends. You don't see that at other places on television. If you're watching Fox News and you see a Democrat on there, they're getting paid to be a punching bag. If you're watching MSNBC or CNN, you see a Republican on there, they're getting paid to take a beating. Our people are real people who know where the rubber meets the road. They've been in the trenches, and we want to have thoughtful conversation because that's what us purple people do, kind of in the middle. Two great ones today. Sam Spokony joins us today. He's a political analyst. He's also a strategist with Marathon Strategies. And Robert Hornak joins us again. He's been on many times. He's a veteran Republican consultant and strategist. Guys, thank you for joining us today on Liquid Lunch. Great to have you both back. So, it appears this Bolton book, John Bolton's book, due out in March, and there are some, everyday little revelations of things that might be that are supposedly in the book and everything else. And Bolton has apparently made an allegation that the aid to Ukraine was conditioned on a meeting on an investigation into specifically Joe Biden. The president has said the guy's just trying to sell books. But this has spurred one lawmaker into possibly voting with the Democrats for witnesses and change his mind. Let's take a look what Mitt Romney had to say about this.
Increasingly apparent that it would be important to hear from John Bolton. I, of course, will make a final decision on witnesses after we've heard from not only the prosecution but also the defense. But I think at this stage it's pretty fair to say that John Bolton has a relevant testimony. I think it's increasingly likely that other Republicans will join those of us who think we should hear from John Bolton.
So, Sam, let me go to you first. In a regular trial, if you put down an indictment, then you go with that evidence. If new evidence develops, they do a superseding indictment. Can this just be an open-ended thing? They just keep coming up with more evidence, more witnesses, and maybe they don't need new articles?
Well, I think what we see today, based on the reaction from Senator Romney, is that over the last several weeks, there's been a steady drip, drip, drip of various information that kind of corroborates the need for witnesses. But the news that a senior member of the inner circle in the Trump White House is now clearly saying or alleging that the president was making this aid contingent on Ukraine investigating the Bidens. I mean, Senator Schumer has said, it's about, getting 4 Republicans to vote for witnesses. But the reality is we see now just with Mitt Romney, even Susan Collins tweeting that she's considering it, there's really no argument for standing against witnesses at this point. It's not about 4 votes. It should be 100 to nothing. And I think it's becoming clear by the day.
Just by 2 people? You think it's becoming clear, Robert? What do you think?
Yes.
This is what's going on. The Democrats are watching the polls. They know that the president is not going to be removed from office. Right? They're watching the polls, and they're seeing that the American people could not care less about what they're doing in Washington, D.C. to try to impeach the president right now. The polls have been diving. In 2 hours on Saturday morning, the Republicans completely debunked all of the Democratic assertions. Now they're scrambling. They've been trying to get Bolton on forever, not because he's got any information. They have no idea what he's going to say. They don't even know what's in his book. This is all allegations. This is rumors. This is leaks. What they're doing is they're angling for their big moment on TV, their big Tom Cruise moment where they're going to go, Colonel Jessup, did you order the code red? That's all they want. They want to have TV reels that they can play back during the election next year or later this year that are going to try to make the president and his people look bad.
How do you think it could be 100-0?
Well, so I think that moment on TV has already come and gone like several times, which obviously makes it frustrating. But not just with the Bolton book, with the revelations that came out recently. We also heard a tape that was revealed with the president saying we're going to get her out, talking about the Ukrainian ambassador or the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. I think that there's a lot of talk about how Americans don't care about this. I think that's really not true. I think one thing that comes to mind is, I was enjoying reading some of the e-blasts that the White House would put out as the impeachment trial started, and one that really comes to mind now is they said in their e-blast, it's clear now Americans don't care about the impeachment trial. Their interest is waning because only 12 million people were viewing it on TV this past weekend. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, this is front and center for a lot of Americans. I think, poll after poll, even especially among independents, has shown that Americans support witnesses. They really are concerned about what the president has done here. They want more information. They want to see this through. And the idea that that's just spin just isn't borne out by what's happening every single day.
Rob, isn't there a process here where the managers in the House had their opportunity to bring all the evidence for the impeachment?
Absolutely. If they thought that John Bolton's testimony was so important, they would have called him as a witness during the House portion, those secret basement in the bunker hearings that they were having. They would have brought him in and interviewed him, and if it took a little bit of time, it takes a little bit of time. There's an old saying, John, the wheels of justice grind slowly but extremely fine.
Yep.
Justice, if he really did something wrong, you take the time, you do a thorough investigation, you bring all the witnesses in under the conditions that you're supposed to. They're going for this is a My Cousin Vinny moment for them. They're just trying to skip the indictment, skip the trial, and they just want to have an impeachment.
I had, as I mentioned in my open, opportunity to speak to Rudy Giuliani for a little while over the weekend. And I was saying, Adam Schiff made some comments in some of his closing arguments that were just untrue. I mean, they were completely untrue. Mm-hmm. He manipulated the wording in the conversation between Zelensky and Trump. Sam, aren't these guys sworn in? Like, can they just get up there and lie and not be held liable for perjury or anything?
I mean, it's a funny argument to make about, sworn in and being impartial, et cetera, because, I mean, the whole process before the Senate portion of the impeachment trial started was you had a number of Republican senators saying that they weren't going to be impartial and that they were on the side of Trump, and then they're taking an oath to be impartial. So, I mean, if that's really the argument, it's
just
a lot
one.
of nebulous.
One I was talking about. But hey, we got to take a quick break, guys. These guys are going to stay with us. You stay right there. We're going to come back after this. We're going to talk about Bernie Sanders. We're going to talk about the 2020 election, including the Democratic primaries. We're just a week or so away. We're going to take a quick break. More Liquid Lunch for you right after this.